Namaste, yogis. Welcome to Yoga Life. My name's Tania. I'm here to guide you through a 60-minute Yin Yoga practice. Our time together tonight will be very still, very quiet, and we're going to work on nourishing the heart. So happy Love Day to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. And this day can mean different things for different people. So I guess I didn't want to focus so much on the holiday idea of Valentine's, but more on the idea of working from our hearts and being guided from that heart space. When we talk about the heart in traditional Chinese medicine, we are referring to the emperor of our kingdom. So the heart is the ruler of everything that goes on in our bodies. It is also guiding our upper body energy lines or channels. So when we target the heart through our Yin Yoga practice, we will be focusing more on the upper body. Thinking about your arms, thinking about the upper torso, chest, and the spine as well. So our lower body will still be involved to a certain degree, but largely a heart practice tonight. And I'm hoping to conclude with a slightly longer Shavasana and a beautiful metta meditation practice for you. So we'll refer a little bit to the Eastern tradition, the yogic tradition, the chakras, Anahata, but also we'll be focusing on the traditional Eastern or Chinese medicine practices. All right, so welcome in everybody. If you're just joining, please make sure you have some yoga props to assist you, a bolster, maybe some cushions or pillows, and maybe a yoga block, a Tupperware container or some textbooks if you don't have that, our yoga blanket for some extra padding if you find your mat a little thin. Perfect. Welcome in anyone who's just joining. The playlist tonight is the Heart Yin playlist on Spotify. So with all of that said, we're going to start in a pose. And I'm going to invite you to stand up and come into a standing forward bend. This won't be a completely still standing forward bend, so I will give you some parameters to move. So as you stand up, and take your time if you've been lying down or seated for a while, just bring your feet to about hips width apart. And then I want you to soften your knees and start to fold and bend yourself forward, down and in. You might want to add some props to support your body here, perhaps a bolster to lift the floor or your yoga blocks under your hands. Another option would be to move your sit bones against a wall or the back of a couch and take a little bit more of a supported stance. Some of you might like to use the bolster lengthways, tucked between your belly and the floor as you fold forward to give your belly more of a massage. And others will prefer to dangle and not use any props in this pose. So I'm going to encourage you as you fold forward to let your arms hang. As I mentioned right at the start of class, when we focus on our heart energy in Chinese medicine, the meridians originate deep from the heart, move through the diaphragm, and then surface in the upper arm, moving down the arm and ending in the tip of the pinky finger. So if we can, folding forward, we're trying to get the idea of an inversion with our upper body and a flushing out, a folding down and in. And there's this anchoring of support in our lower body as our feet contact to the earth. We'll take a moment to settle. You might find that your weight shifts a little forward and back as you find center. And then if you can, go ahead and close down your eyes. And soften something. Whether that be your neck, your shoulders, your jaws, your knees, your belly, or your expectations. Seeing if you can come into this shape and really commit to it. bringing your whole body into the pose to help you land onto your mat and into your practice. Notice what's here. As you begin your journey yin side, notice how you're starting. How do you feel physically in your body? Where are you taking up space? Where are you stretched tight? Where do you feel open and free? Tuning into the physical parts of you can help to educate you as to where you're at and what you're working with this afternoon. Good. I'm going to invite you to add a little twist to the upper body, knowing that you don't have to take this, and will be about 10 breaths either side. If you're coming to twist, we'll walk the hands around toward the left. Now, they may or may not be on the earth. So if they're not on the earth, we're just letting them dangle around toward the left side of us, the left hip. Your knees could soften more, head and neck relaxes. For just 10 breaths or so as you twist into your standing forward fold, perhaps changing where you feel the sensations in your bones, in your muscles. A reminder to soften. Seeing if you can twist from your upper body, your torso. And as you twist, can you check in and notice how you feel emotionally today? Where's your mind at? What is the flavor of your thoughts? Gorgeous, everyone. Let's walk our hands back to center if you've twisted. Just a couple of breaths. And then tempting the other side, walk your hands around toward your right hip, keeping both feet glued and planted on the earth. Just allowing the torso to come into the pose. You might notice how this changes things. And there is no obligation or compulsion to twist if you're happy just in that forward fold. We've got about 5 more breaths wherever you are. Again, just noticing how you feel energetically, physically, emotionally. The heart is the ruler of our emotions. Good. Let's come back to center. Take your time if you've twisted. And then keeping your head nice and low, we'll prepare to come out of the shape. So hands can come back onto the prop or the earth, knees can soften. We're going to snuggle into a child's pose as a little rebound and transition. So bring your knees to earth. You can take them wide or keep your thigh bones together. You can soften your sit bones toward heels. Doesn't matter if they're touching. And then you could either extend your arms forward or take them back beside your hips. Perhaps resting your head onto that bolster, a pillow. And allowing your body to settle after the inversion, which may have shaken things up a little. allowing your body to be safe in the cocoon of child's pose, coming back into yourself, back into home. We'll be here about another minute. Chance to breathe, chance to reset. Opportunity to really nourish your heart, to cool, to slow down. About 5 more breaths. You can choose to stay in child's pose for another 3 minutes if you're cozy and comfortable, if you're feeling that it's nourishing your arms, your hips. Or you could come with me. We're going to move into Anahata, melting heart pose. If you know this pose and how you like to prop, please go ahead and come straight in. If you're a little newer to practice or you would like some guidance, I'll give you a couple of ideas and options. So in our melting heart pose, you could stay with sit bones low to heels and extend your arms forward onto your bolster, maybe resting your forehead too. Be a nice low option. For some of you who want to get a bit more energy moving through the body, you're going to bring your knees about hips width, lift your sit bones up above your knees, and then start to extend your arms forward. So some of you will like the bolster underneath chest or armpits just to catch you here and hold you a little higher away from the earth. Others will prefer, again, no props, and just extending the arms forward, then dipping the chest and torso down toward the earth, possibly also your forehead or your chin. This is a back bend, getting into spinal extension, but also a deep stretch for the top of your arms, your shoulders. We're tractioning the body here. So if you need some extra support to hold this for time, then please add those props to support your body. The bolster works really well. Or you can bend one elbow and have one arm straight just to lessen the sensation into the tops of your arms and shoulders. There's a lot going on in melting heart pose. You might need to soften your elbows. You might need to soften sit bones toward heels. You might want to add some more support underneath your chest to help you carry the weight. We have about 2.5 minutes left. This is one of the most nourishing poses for our heart as we bow down in strength, humility, and grace, and offering to ourselves, to each other, to this practice, this time together. Can you soften the space between your shoulder blades? Can you surrender a little more into this deep release? And keep your awareness on your heart center. Beautiful pumping organ in the middle of your chest. Moving blood and chi around your body. You're in your final minute of the pose. Of course, you don't need my permission to leave the shape. At any time, you can retract, pull back, or go deeper. Test those edges, test those limits. But listen to your body. Your last 5 or so breaths here. Can you slow that breath down? Maybe let it radiate from deep within your heart through your diaphragm to your inner upper arms, down your arms, into your pinky finger. Thinking about leaving the pose. Let's close the chapter now. Come into a rebound. Some of you might draw back to child's pose. Others are going to feel like they want to stretch out. I always like to lie on my belly after that one, but if you prefer to lie on your back, you could do that. Yeah, good idea, Trace. Clear the props out of the way. Give yourself some space. Try to bring your spine into perhaps a more neutral position after that extension, after that beautiful energetic pressure into the spine, that tractioning. We'll take a little bit of time in between our poses to rest, to digest, to return to neutral, to slow down. The rebound, always a beautiful reminder to go slow. Take about 3 more breaths. And then wherever you are, start to gradually reawaken your body. You could wiggle fingers, toes, bring yourself back to life. Maybe a smile spreads across your face. Maybe you're hugging knees into chest. Maybe you're stretching or windscreen wipering. Any movement that feels helpful, therapeutic, or medicinal. Please take your time to move. We're going to meet in a seated position. And if you could sit to face me, that would be fantastic. Gorgeous. So coming into a seat, I'm going to move next into a forward bend. And with this said, you might want to place something underneath your sit bones. And just to tilt your pelvis, perhaps give you slightly more access into your hips, your body, your spine. I want you to start with your right leg crossed in front of your left, just a nice easy seat. So for most of us, this will be plenty as we fold forward to bring sensation to the outside of hips, particularly right hip, the outside of thighs, and to the back line of our body, to our spine. So if you're not sure, you could try folding forward and just see if you get enough juice. For some of you, it won't be enough, particularly my hypermobile students. So for you, and if you know that your hips are quite mobile and unstuck, then you might prefer to set this up as a tighter shoelace. In Hatha, we call it a cow face pose, with right knee stacked on top of left and heels in toward hips. Or you may prefer a double pigeon or a more of a square shape, stacking your right heel on top of your left knee. If you come into any of these other shapes and you feel that your body is compromised and you wouldn't be able to fold forward and hold for 3 minutes, then please just come back to that more simple cross-legged position. Sometimes in yin, less is more. And we don't want to torture ourselves for the glory of some particular shape or form. We do want to feel sensation, but we don't want it to be sensational, as my teacher Bernie Clark says. So we're going to hang out here in our forward fold for about 3 minutes, nourishing the back line of our bodies, nourishing the physical space of our hearts. Full permission to round your spine. You can let your belly hang. No need to look aesthetically pleasing. We are interested in how the pose feels, not what it looks like. You might want to add some support in front of your body, maybe a bolster to rest your elbows or your forehead. And then we soften and fold in together. Once you feel settled, an invitation to close the eyes and turn the gaze inward. You might be staring directly at the physical space of your heart or your belly. An opportunity to check in with the health and the status of your heart. How is your heart? Is there joy there? Love? Is there some compassion and kindness? Is there capacity for forgiveness? Is there a sense of openness or a feeling of being caged tight? And asking yourselves these questions is just an opportunity to reflect, to notice, to be curious about the health and status of your heart. Let's take 3 more breaths. And take your time to move, easing your way out of the pose. Walking your hands a little closer toward you. You might want to use those hands to assist your legs. I know that your legs might feel a little fragile, vulnerable, little sore, little tight. You could run some energy down your legs to help that. After a forward bend, I always like to lie down on my back for rebound, but you might have another sense of where your body would like to be in space. Trying to place the spine into a more neutral position. Doesn't mean that you have to be still. If the lower back is sore, keeping knees soft. And just allowing that pose to absorb fully into your whole body. Letting yourself rest a few moments between sides, between shapes. Giving yourself a break. Take about 5 more breaths. And sometimes during the rebound, the body will provide feedback. Just listening, always curious. And start to gradually reawaken now, re-emerge. Bring your body back to life as you would. And we're going to continue to work the right side for one more pose. So you could hug knees into chest if you're lying down, maybe roll over onto your left side. We're going to meet on our left side. So in this side saddle position, you're down on your left hip with both knees bent. And then you can go ahead and add your bolster just alongside of you here. It's going to catch you as you take a side lying position. It's going to catch your left chest and rib cage. So having a pillow or bolster, your sit bones can be a little distance away. Stretch your left arm and then come to lie on your side as we set up for our side stretch, our mermaid. Some of you will rest your left ear onto shoulder. Others will bend the elbow and hold that ear. And some of you might like to place a block or a pillow there. There's a couple of parameters to our mermaid pose that you could play with. One is the position of your top leg. You might like to slide that back behind you, making more of a deer pose. And that may increase sensation to the top of your right hip. Some of you might also like to add a top arm, bringing a little more juice into that energy line that feeds heart, small intestine. The one we've been talking about that runs from the diaphragm to the pinky finger. So whenever we involve the arms in a pose, we're targeting that channel. Coming to lie on your side and starting to marinate in the goodness of this shape. We're going to be here for about 4 minutes. Please make yourself comfortable. And if you haven't landed in a place of comfort, add something, take something away. Give yourself permission to be fully supported. A few more moments to settle before you come to rest and come to be. Again, if you can close the eyes, if you're comfortable with that, it can help to internalize the practice, maybe take you into more of a state of meditation or rest and digest. When we work with this heart meridian, this energy line, it's asking us to forgive, and to be receptive. And if you notice as you lie here that you're not speaking to yourself with love, with kindness, could you change that? We're so hard on ourselves. Could you be a little more gentle? Could you say something to yourself now that you're wanting, needing to hear? You speak to yourself with love. Your final 40 seconds of the pose. Deeper breaths, like love notes to our whole body. Such beautiful stillness, everyone. Take your time to come out. That top arm could come back down beside your body and help you to lift up, maybe sliding that support that you have under you out of the way. And you could come to lie on your belly, your back. Maybe it's child's pose. Maybe you want to just sit and be with that pose for a few moments. I'll let you decide your rebound. Trying to keep whatever position that you're taking this resonance pose quite neutral, quite safe. And then we listen in for the echoes. We tune in to any feedback from our mind or our body. Always curious. Just a couple more breaths. Returning back to center, back to you. And gradually bring your body back to life. Reconnect with this physical presence, lying, sitting, breathing here. Give yourself a stretch, a curl, a squeeze. Gorgeous. We'll make our way slowly back up to a seat and commence our journey into the left side. This is the yin side, the heart side. I've deliberately left it to second. So again, you can sit onto something if that helps. Left ankle crossed in front of right. Maybe this side you need more. Maybe your hips respond differently on the left. Our body isn't symmetrical. So perhaps it's a tighter shoelace, stacking left knee on top of right, heels to body. Or maybe it's more of a double pigeon or square setup. As long as your left knee isn't flying towards space, you could probably maintain a forward bend here. Add something in front of your body for support if you need it. Maybe you're just resting onto your elbows, cupping chin into hands. Maybe you want all the pillows. Sometimes they can provide comfort like a puppy dog or a teddy bear as we ride the waves of sensation. Snuggling something can help. Good. Let's fold forward, down and in. We have 3 minutes together. Always these forward folds to nourish our spine, but also the yin side of us, this feminine side, the side that is dark and cool, the side that is winter, closer to the center, yielding water. And often out of balance in our busy world and busy lives. The main emotion associated with the heart is joy. How do you express joy today, this week, this life? How do you contact and connect with joy? In your final minute of the pose, if you're noticing throbbing through the left hip, left thigh, just be conscious of sensation. Make sure it's medicinal, healing, helpful. Protect yourself, look after yourself, be kind. And just your last few breaths. Make these deeper, slower, more conscious. Slowly close the chapter of the pose. Start to lift yourself up and walk your hands closer into body. Again, I like to help my legs out of this one because often they feel achy and stiff, sometimes dull and grey. Yeah, I like that one at the end too, Paul. That's a good one. Just giving them a little bit of love, maybe rolling around on your yoga mat. Sometimes we just want to lie still straight away. So you could make your way onto your back, allowing your spine to reset gradually more into a neutral place and space. If it's really achy, you could always hug your knees in, give yourself a squeeze. Take any movement as long as it feels helpful, supportive, medicinal. And then we'll rest. Just a little space between our poses, an opportunity to digest, absorb, notice. A few more breaths. You can slowly reawaken little movements, twitching, wiggling. Nice. Maybe bending knees if legs are straight, giving yourself a little windscreen wiper or a squeeze. And slowly coming over onto one side to move up as we set up for our side lying, side bending position. This time your right hip will be down toward the earth and your left knee, left thigh will be stacked on top. I always like to start side saddle with this one and then adjust as I need. Bolster can come alongside of that right hip, or maybe it's just a folded blanket or pillow. The higher the prop, the more action you'll get into that thoracolumbar, that upper spine, the more side bend you'll get. Right arm extends out, long. Maybe you're bending elbow to cradle ear. Maybe that ear is on a pillow or block. And then adjusting the parameters. The top leg, almost like a gearbox. You can move it back. You can bring the feet wide or close in. Top arm, again, to add a little bit more intentional movement of chi from the center of our chest, radiating through those arm lines and channels that feed our heart, small intestine, the meridian pair. As we come into our mermaid pose, sometimes I get these beautiful visions in this pose of the mythical creature that is the mermaid, and she is a creature of love. A beautiful archetype, goddess, half fish, half human. Patricia, if you're not getting much side bend in that one, then I encourage you to come into a side bend another way. So you could sit up, bend your left knee, extend your right leg long and lean, and you'll get the same target area, just not needing that bolster, which you don't have. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't quite work the way we want it. You getting it now? Yeah, gorgeous. You have about 2 minutes left in your mermaid. Can you speak to yourself with love, kindness, compassion? Be gentle. You are doing the best you can. We all are. As you tip your chest toward the sky, can you invite in more joy, more light, more ease, more freedom? In the yogic tradition, when we're working with the heart, we refer to the chakras, the heart chakra, Anahata, unstruck, the color green. This may resonate, this may not. It's all to do with energy, prana, chi moving through us. Good. Take about 3 more breaths in your side bend. And slowly start to release. Top arm can come back down to help you up. Maybe you're sliding things out of the way, clearing your dance floor and coming to lie back down either on your belly or your back. Take about 5 more breaths. And quietly begin to reawaken your body. If you're lying on your belly, you might wiggle fingers, press back to child's pose or tabletop. You might want to move your spine. For those of you on your back, either stretching or hugging or curling. I'm going to finish our practice one more forward bend. Without disturbing yourselves too much, please make your way back up to a seat. And you can extend your legs out in front of you. So this afternoon, I'm going to invite a supported variation of caterpillar with the idea to target more the upper spine rather than the backs of our legs. In this variation, you'll need to wedge something underneath the back of your knees. So either a rolled blanket, a pillow, or your bolster. And again, you might like to sit onto a blanket if you find that you're really leaning back as you set this up. The blanket will work to tilt you forward and perhaps give you greater access into the forward bend. Gorgeous. Taking your knees wide, your feet apart, so that there's space for your chest, for your belly, for your heart to cascade forward and through. You can relax your hands alongside. You could even bend elbows and rest your forehead onto thumbs or cup your head into hands. Nice. So setting up the pose, taking your time. And as you commit to your shape, can you also commit to nourishing your heart from the inside out? Passion, compassion, devotion. Becoming one with this body of love. Your final minute of the pose. Just your last few breaths. You can keep that bolster tucked and snuggled under the back of your knees as you start to roll up and lie yourself back down onto the earth. Let the earth catch you and hold you. You prefer to have nothing under your body, sliding it out. Maybe using that blanket you were sitting on to cover yourself for some warmth and protection. Please remove glasses from the face. Loosen off any tight clothing. Find something to cover your eyes if the room feels bright, or maybe if you're outside. Lengthening your spine. Closing down your eyes and beginning to relax your whole body. Now bring your attention to your heart center, the space in the middle of your chest. Just allow yourself to reside here a few moments, a few breaths. And picture yourself comfortable, relaxed, safe, lying here. And send all of your loving kindness to yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. And may I live with ease. And continue to nourish yourself with these words the next few moments, the next few breaths. As you drift effortlessly into this final pose, this resting pose, your Shavasana. Know that you have time here now to stay as long as you need. The beautiful thing about practicing at home is there is no need to rush off or be anywhere else. So please know that you can stay. You can continue to journey in. If you are ready to come back, please begin to deepen your breath. Start to reconnect back with your physical body. Wiggle fingers, toes. Give yourself a stretch, a squeeze. It's rolling over onto your favorite side, letting your head rest into arm with knees bent. Making your way back to a comfortable seat. We'll meet back together in our kula, in our community. Conscious minds, conscious hearts, beating as one, hands in front of hearts, Anjali. Taking a moment to sit together, to be together on this day of love. And whatever it is you love, please nourish that. Please nurture it. Stay true to yourself and to each other. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let there be peace, and to ourselves and to each other. Namaste.